the Resource Scholars online and on-air show, broadcasting intelligent and spirited talk with James Posey.
I'm excited about this episode of the Resource Scholar. We have a dude I've been trying to hook up with for I don't know how long in terms of trying to talk about his role in the community and some of the things he's done. He has a legacy, and he's an entrepreneur. He's a reporter. He's a golfer. He's one of these guys. I call him the Tiger Woods of the Portland thing, because he's always out here doing his thing. But I'm really excited that he's on this program. And one of the reasons I'm so excited about him on the program is that, he has a constituent base that people really need to know and see and talk about, because, at the end of the day, we as Black people in this community needs to know we have very intelligent, capable people, leadership roles, and so on, et cetera. Our young people need to see a Paul Knauls Jr., who's not a lot of hype, a young brother, a couple generations behind me, but nevertheless, our young people need to see this dude and talk to him about his life experiences and things that are happening in our community. He knows his community. I think he's born and raised here, but Paul, welcome to the program. This is Resource Scholar.
Thanks.
And so happy to have you, my man. So anything you want to tell us, anything you want to talk to us about right off the top of the head? We got a script here. Our director always gives us a script, but he knows I'm always going to go off script. So talk to us.
I'm glad you're having me on, James. It's an honor. I'm humbled by it. You know how I am. You said it. I kind of like to stay in the background, but I'm stepping out of my comfort zone this year and try to engage more in the community to uplift some of the young entrepreneurs and the business people in our community and the services that we can render right in our own community. A lot of people don't know about a lot of people that are out there doing some very interesting things. So I've decided to go on air and highlight these people. And so that's where my focus is right now. And that's it.
I live down in the Elliott Neighborhood Association. And, we got this big thing about the I-5 corridor and that expansion and so forth. And the Elliott Neighborhood Association filed a lawsuit in accordance with or in conjunction with one of these environmental groups. And I live down there, and I went to one of their meetings, and I was outraged because you only got about 5 Black people in that neighborhood association. And I just told them I didn't think they were representing me. I mean, they go out and do a lawsuit and everything, but no one contacted me about this lawsuit, and of course it's the environmentalists and people who are trying to
talk
about air and all that other stuff, and I wanted to express to them, Black people just trying to live. They just trying. I know we want to breathe good air, but for many years, they never contacted us. We're out here to, I'm down the street from Dawson Park. You have all those brothers down there doing their thing and this and that. Mm-hmm. So what is your thought about how white people in this community just really disrespect us and want to say things in our name, all that gentrification stuff? Tell me what's on your mind about that stuff, Paul.
I think that the lack of communication, everything starts with communication with me. Yeah. I'm a firm believer that if we don't talk about things and we don't engage each other, we're never going to get to where we want to be, not one side or the other. Because at the end of the day, we're all living in this bowl together, and we have to find a way to reach out, listen to the other party's concerns, and try to come to some kind of happy medium. But when people move into the community, and you mentioned earlier it's difficult to run from your DNA. And the people that have moved into the community have never felt the need to engage African American people. They just go on their way. That's how I feel about it. This is what I see. I should never feel uncomfortable walking up Williams Avenue. How can that possibly be? You know? So I think engagement is the key. And there's got to be some people that reach out to each other. And if that's not done, we're going to just keep spinning the wheel. We're going to, because if you don't know, I don't feel included in your plans if I'm not invited to help with the plan. You know what I mean? And so your feelings they're real. They're justified the way that you feel. That's how that's what I think.
Well, you know, Paul, I went into that meeting, you know, these white people push my buttons, man. You know, my wife told me, boy, what's wrong with you? Because I told them there were a bunch of white supremacists in there. Everything got to be their way or the highway. I said, I respect your point of view. Why can't you incorporate my point of view in there? Especially if you're in here trying to take over my dadgum community. I've been here for 40 years. You're going to come in here and about a hot minute going to tell me, you're going to do all this environmental stuff and we don't need to get no jobs here. This is a destination, so forth. You know, it's crazy. I mean, I'm hearing exactly what you're saying. Communication is key. They could have done a survey. They should have, you know, if I were them and I was smart, I would have took a look in who's in this community, who's been the longest, the people you want to talk to first, because they weathered the storm in this joint. You know what I'm saying? So they didn't do none of that.
I agree with you. This is the pattern, though. This is a pattern that has been for as long as this place has been a country. We don't need to ask any questions. We just come and do what we want to do.
Become a member and add to the Resource Scholars social media community. Log on to resourcescholarshow.com.
You know, and I you know, and the thing that angers me, Paul, I back in the day, I stayed at your dad and your mom's place down on Williams, man. That was the highlight of my life. If it wasn't
a highlight of a lot of our lives.
If it wasn't been for Geneva's and your dad's place down there where I can let off steam on a Friday and this and that, I think I'd be in an insane asylum, man. Because, you know, that was a place for Black people to go, you know, and down the street. What's the name of the other place down the street, going south, you know, that had all the food?
Cleo's,
the place to play. Back in where I come from is a place similar to that called the Place to Play. But, you know, everybody knows your name type place. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Well, you know, the community places like that are hard to find. Everywhere, you know, one thing like the barbershop. The barbershop is the place where we can go and we're unapologetically Black. We talk about everything, anything, anyone. If it's public information, you know, when you go to school to be in cosmetology field, they tell you shouldn't discuss politics, religion. But being in African-American community, there's no way to get around those topics in any of our environments because they're a part of our everyday life. You know, politics plays into my life every day, you know, so we've never been shy of discussing topics, you know.
Well, Paul, I listen to you, man, and unbeknownst to you, I listen to some of the stuff you do on Facebook and the whole 9 yards.
Uh-huh.
You actually done raised some kids out of your barbershop. When you was cutting hair, you was literally raising kids, right?
My God. My gosh. The barbershop and the barbers, the black men in the barbershop have so much influence if they use it the right way. When you have a time with a child that no one else has, it's just you and him, and you're not in the family, you're an outside voice, you're objective. And the thing that I miss most about being in the barbershop is my clients and the kids that I had mothers come in there and they would say, Paul, can you talk to my son? And then I'd have the fathers would say, he wants to wear these clothes, Paul, and I just can't take it, and I'd have a talk with the father and a talk with the son and come to a conclusion that he's not really, listen, the kid got good grades, he's obedient at home, this is a fad, it too will pass. I wore bell bottoms and platforms at one time.
Yeah. Yeah, that you really are dating yourself now. You really are dating yourself now. Them plaids and them blah. My brother had them in his closet. I was saying, what are you thinking about? This goes to the museum. I want to segue a little bit into the educational field, man. And I know I got an email or a text message from somebody saying that these kids over at Jeff are not showing up for class. They disruptive in the halls and etc. And I know, you've been around and this and that. So they want some adults to go and sit in the hallways and monitor those kids, etc. But Paul, we have a 50% achievement gap in these school systems right now. Black kids, if you project out 10 years from now, and you have a 50% achievement gap in math and reading and all that, where are those kids going to be in 10 years when they come out of those high schools who can't read the application, who can't really articulate where they're trying to go in a letter? It's crazy, Paul. What is your thoughts? Jeff is right down the street. You understand the story. What are your thoughts on this?
I was assistant baseball coach at Jeff a few years ago. Okay. And I was in those hallways. Okay. And you have, honestly, a majority of kids that I seen at Jeff wanted to do the right thing. And they did the right thing. But then in the schools, you have a system where, James, we need to educate our own children. The public school system, and I had some great white teachers, but they could not reach me if I looked up in the classroom and I seen someone that looked like me. It made a better situation for me. One thing, I went to a meeting once and I said this, when the African American church had the total community behind it, you went to church on Sunday, you went to prayer meeting Wednesday, and if you didn't go to church on Sunday, you didn't get a chance to go to the amusement park. That was just out. But the one thing that I had wished for more than ever, and it came to me in my 50s, I don't attend church anymore, but I was in church, James, over 100 times by the time that I was 8 years old. Sundays. I went to Sunday school. If the church had have taken 10 minutes out of Sunday school, 10 minutes, that's all, and taught me about who I was, where I came from, the history of my people. I just didn't come from slavery. You know what I mean? Absolutely. James, when I walked into that elementary education, I would have been a totally different person. Mm-hmm. I would have been a totally different person. I would have walked into the classroom like I was a king. Yeah. Instead of sitting there and listening and knowing and thinking, because I don't know any better, this is the teacher. I just think that my greatest achievement in life was my elders were slaves.
Right, right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with you 100%.
So I think that children really don't know who they are now. The music industry and media have redefined what Black manhood is, what Black womanhood is. It's been redefined. Someone else has been writing our narrative. It hasn't been us. And until we get to the point where we are creating and writing our own narrative, then I think that it's going to be difficult to reach a lot of these kids. But what I say right now, if you're a kid in school and you're having trouble with school and you don't think college is for you, you reach out for a trade, because that's where it's at. That's where it's at. Yeah. You get a trade. From a trade, you can get what you need. You're going to make good money. And then someday, maybe you'll have the motivation and the inspiration to put your name on your trade. You know what I mean? Yeah.
So, Paul, when you talk like this to me, I kind of feel like I'm a couple of generations ahead of you, but
I don't know, James. I'm going to be 70 in April.
You're going to be 70 in April? Oh,
yeah, man.
Well, maybe it ain't maybe it's just a generation, I'm always, when I run across your dad, he always he always lets me know that I'm way down on this. He always points that out real good to me. But going back to what you said, though, brother, our role models and our images about who Black men could be is totally different from these kids, because they've been been programmed to think entirely different. For example, for many years, I've been in the construction for many years. Many of our so-called leaders would dissuade our kids from going to the trades because the image was that they work with their hands, the work was dirty, blah, blah, blah. It didn't fit into their narrative. Right. What is respectable for a Black person? It didn't fit into the narrative about what successful Black people look like. And so it's been a real tough proposition trying to turn that around and really try to share with, but we can't be monolithic in terms of how we see Black people and what their roles are in this society. No. And we have to take advantage of those opportunities that will give us the most bang for the buck, that will raise our families, etc. That's a tough proposition. Some of I don't want to name names, but some people in our community who, they might call themselves in the elite. We used to call them the bourgeoisie, the Black bourgeoisie, who really turn our kids off. And I'm talking, some of these people are in the school system, teachers and so forth, who were not redirecting our kids. So it's been an uphill deal. But at the end of the day, when you start talking about churches, it takes us all. When people say it takes a village to raise a child, it takes a village. Oh, man. When you talk about church, for example, one of the real factors in this whole conversation is the absence of discipline. And and able to matriculate into a way in which you can hold a job, keep a job, or actually just get through. If I went to Sunday school and I was acting up and I wasn't paying attention to the lesson, somebody allowed to wrap me across my hands with some.
You're going down in the basement.
Yeah, in the basement, and you.
Become a member and add to the Resource Scholars social media community. Log on to resourcesscholarshow.com.
What's your take on Herschel Walker? I don't throw that on you real fast. What's your take?
Okay. Herschel Walker, the Republican Party has set up the they're following the narrative. Herschel Walker is everything that the stereotypical Black man has been portrayed to be. So the Republican Party gets 2 for 1. They get Herschel Walker, who is going to vote and do anything that they absolutely say. And on top of that, they get the bonus of saying, look at who we got. There is no way that you can tie racism and these things to us. We have Herschel Walker. We have Tim Scott. We have Clarence Thomas. Herschel Walker is the perfect person for the Republican Party right now. To hear Lindsey Graham say that he will inspire other African Americans to want to join the Republican Party, Lindsey Graham, that will never happen. To people that that have a thought process of critical thinking. You guys, the party that Herschel Walker is in has never wanted to do anything for people that look like you and me, or poor people that look like them. They're a one-trick pony. Tax cuts for the rich, it will trickle down. Mm-hmm. It's never happened since Ronald Reagan, and it's never, ever going to happen. Yeah. The system is broken. I don't know how we fix it. You know what I think would be great? And it just, because I'm sitting here at some time and I have these crazy thoughts come in my head, and then I look and it might not be too crazy. It might not be bad if every Black person left the Democratic Party and formed a third party, the Black Party, and see what happens then. What do you do then? Yeah. What do the Democrats do then? What do the Republicans do then?
Yeah. Hey, you know what? You begin to get a little too radical for me with those kind of thoughts. you beginning to morph over into the Kanye West.
Oh my God! Please.
You get ready to morph over into Kyrie, or you get ready to morph over into something, Charlie. But you're absolutely right. I was thinking about Georgia, and Lord, Georgia saved us the last time around, the last election with Warnock and all. But the numbers, the numbers say, I just read something the other day that 85% of the Black people voted for Warnock, and a very small percentage of white people voted for Warnock. And most of the people were in the urban area that voted for Warnock. Conversely, most of the white people voted for Herschel, and they were all kind of out there in the red area, the Trump area, that fits into their narrative about who we are, and the power, the whole piece. But they don't
fear.
But if you strip away, but if you strip away the white, if they were colorblind, and that dude did what he did with them women and stuff, and lying, the whole moral. Now, here's the irony of it. The Christian, the Southern Christian Baptist people are still hooked into this dude with all those moral deficiencies. If you forget about the color, just think about this dude's, not taking care of his family. And I don't care whether you red, yellow, black, or white. If a man don't take care of his family, how can you, in good conscience, talk about trying to support a dude like that? Regardless, are you right? Am I right or wrong? You tell me.
You're absolutely right. Listen, to follow a party or be a part of a party that decided that the way to power was to run on anti-Semitism, on racism, on misogynism, how can you affiliate yourself with those groups and call yourself at all any kind of Christian? No, what that party does for you is the most important thing to you, and that is protect your whiteness. That's what it does. Donald Trump and the Republican Party ran on protecting privilege and whiteness, and it worked for them.
Yeah.
And that is it. And there's no other way to look at it. You can't logically explain that away. You just can't. There's no reason. If you have a good heart and you're a good person, and you say, I'm not a racist, I don't have any racist tendencies, but you hang out at rallies where Nazis are speaking, it's hard for you to convince me to not believe my lying eyes, James.
Yeah.
Become a member and add to the Resource Scholars social media community. Log on to resourcescholarshow.com.
So let me just ask you, Paul, the local election, our girl, JoAnn lost, and, we got Teen governor and some of the local elections, some of the local initiatives. What's your take on how that all played out? Where are we at now? We're after this election, midterm election.
I haven't been following Portland local politics that much. I'm across the bridge. I do follow the Oregon politics. I'm glad that we were able to survive the Drazens and some of the other folks, that are just, they have one mission, and that is to destroy the pillars of the government. That's basically the election fraud claims and the nature of denying that is, you cannot uphold a democracy with those people in office. They will tear it down. And they wanted to, we had a guy here, and didn't Oregon had a guy that ran for Secretary of State that was an election denier?
Yeah, I think so.
They certify the votes. You just can't have that. So I'm glad that there was no red tsunami as they built themselves up to have, because honestly, if they had won, I honestly think we probably had lived in the last fair election in the United States, for sure. I don't know the people that have come in. I've heard things of some good things about JoAnn's replacement. I don't know him, never met him. I think that JoAnn had a good run. James, yeah.
Well, Paul, for me, I had these deep mixed things. I supported JoAnn in the front.
So did I.
I think somebody who bucks up against the system, I'm pretty want to support them. You know what I mean? And change the status quo, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But the reality is that JoAnn, I think, squandered her opportunity to be our representative in so many different ways. Her personal life was not exemplary, and she was some things that was essentially shot herself in the foot. And of course, I told somebody the other day, as a black man driving down MLK or Williams, I don't want no police shooting me and starting me over and pulling me because I put my hands out. They shoot me in the neck. That is not something that is appealing to me as a black man in our community. On the other hand, is there has to be some form of control about all these people who want to do everything nasty, everything dirty, everything illegal, and as if I look around our community, you've been here, so you already know.
Yes.
This community don't look nothing like it was 15, 20 years ago.
It goes back to who we are. I don't know how we capture how do we regain our culture back? I see a lot of young people that are doing amazing things related to the culture. You got Sister Keys Loaded, who feeds thousands of people for free. You have the young guy at Stack and Kicks, the clothing designer. You have David Jefferson, David Ferguson. They put on these events. They feed people. They clothe people. Aaron Bell. These are young men that are really digging deep, you know, and Keys to try to regain and try to teach. My thing is each one teach one, you know, and they are examples of good things. Sister Lakeitha Elliott, you know, yeah, you know, there's a lot of good in the community. I love my people. I wish there was a way that we had a path forward to regaining our culture. And I can honestly say, I'm not ashamed to say that if you put garbage in your brain every day, all day long, what do you think is going to come out? That you're not going to be, listen, I love hip hop music. All right. I love hip hop when hip hop was hip hop, when it taught, when it spoke to powers, Grandmaster Flash, you know, Kool Moe Dee, those guys, all old guys, you know, when it just came out and it was a beat and they had good messages, Public Enemy. But once it slipped into this darkness, and parents are listening to this stuff in front of their children, the children can't help but take it in. You can't help it. I saw it at the barbershop, man. I saw kids come into the barbershop that were just shell shocked that the music was so loud in the vehicle. I mean, they looked like they had PTSD. They were off, their eardrums were ringing and stuff. Yeah. And the noise that was coming out of there, the cussing, the lyrics, murder and mayhem, you can't help it. It permeates the soul. Music is food for the soul, James. You know that. Opio knows that. And if you're putting all this stuff in, you can't get anything else out. It's hard to beat that down.
Become a member and add to the Resource Scholars social media community. Log on to resourcescholarshow.com.
I wanted to say something about the anti-Semitism, the corporations calling out Kyrie, Kanye, taking away their money, acting like, and it's an act for Phil Knight. It is an act. Listen to me. I go back to the same premises I had before with the Southern Baptist Christians. Phil Knight donated millions of dollars to the Republican Party, millions, for him to snatch away and drop Kyrie Irving to make himself look like he actually cares is just the ultimate shell game. It's just BS. Man, Phil Knight, you gave millions of dollars to the Republican Party, who ran on anti-Semitism, hatred, and dividing the country and tearing down democracy, the pillars of the government. They packed the Supreme Court. So, Phil, I'm not impressed by you dropping Kyrie Irving because it's all smoke and mirrors. You don't really care yourself, because you can say what you want, but your action speaks for themselves.
Yeah. So Paul,
Yes.
Paul, let me ask you a question. That when we had slavery, we were forced onto the plantations. You know, we were forced on it. Kyrie and Kanye, by virtue of their God-given talents, they can escape the plantation if they want to. And listen, our boy, we got to look at, I mean, I just saw the special done by our boy, the comedian, what's his name?
Dave Chapelle.
Dave Chapelle. Yeah, I just saw his.
Dave
And of course,
last
this is one of the most. He's one of the most brilliant dudes on the planet. Is Dave Chapelle. You know, he is absolutely brilliant. You know, I mean, the way he phrases it and everything. I'm just so glad I'm alive to be able to witness the Dave Chapelle and their independence. They're willing to put themselves out there in a way that lets you know they're not on nobody's plantation, and no amount of money going to make them subjugate themselves to what they feel and how they feel. No amount of money, and you know, you understand what we're talking about. You don't want to sell your soul to the devil. And here,
no, I mean,
you know what I'm saying?
At some point, listen, the elders in the neighborhood, they looked out for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was you remember when you used to go to the store and there was penny candy, you didn't quite have the money, and the grandmama or the grandfather or the uncle behind me that don't even know me said, I got him, let him go.
Yeah.
I got him, let him go. You know, enough for you have millions. You've made $250 million. You might have $500,000 or 500 million in the bank. Dave Chapelle realized that it was enough. I don't need all anymore. I got mine. I can say whatever I want to say when I want to say it, and there's nothing you can do about it. Here's a man that turned down $50 million on principle.
On principle. Yeah.
On principle.
Absolutely.
And I think that man, I admire him.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's so many sectors in our culture that are just absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Our culture is American culture. It is. There's no question. There's no way they can get around it.
Well, you know, we're from my perspective, Black people are so tied to the plantation, the job, or you know, whatever, and even in business, they, you know, your constituent base, you know, and you know, you talk about Nike. One of the saddest things for me, it's an embarrassment that we're in the hometown of Nike, where he made money off of Black athletes for I don't know how long, and yet we still have the highest unemployment rate for Black kids in our town, the home of Nike. All that stuff is made, and I talked to a brother the other day. He said, "Well, Nike don't have anything to do with the school system. Why these kids have this big disparity, this big gap, this achievement gap thing that they've been working on for years, your Ron Herndons and all of them. But at the end of the day, they have influence over all that stuff because they are the ones who pick these politicians at all levels. And why would a Phil Knight be pleased with the fact that there's so much disparity, so much hurt and pain, the killings on our streets in his hometown, where he, on the other hand, go internationally to get people to make their shoes, and our kids can't get a job. They have the highest unemployment rate. You know, you explain that to me, Paul.
I worked for Xerox in the 70s, and the first time I heard downsizing was in the 70s.
Yeah.
So we look at America today, not just Portland, Oregon, but you look at America today, and America made its own bed for the profits of a few. We killed our own manufacturing here in this country, and we shipped all our jobs out to other countries so that the 1% could keep more profits. There's no reason for it to be that way. It's just become the norm in America now. And you're right. There's no reason for those shoes to be manufactured anywhere else but America, except for profit. And it's a true case of when is enough enough? When are you going to really, instead of building a stadium here or giving a high school a new baseball field where a lot of the children can't afford gloves, or building a new track field. When are you going to build a manufacturing facility in the United States and lead?
Yeah.
When are you going to lead? When are these corporations going to lead? Because they have the ability to put an end to the homelessness, the mental health crisis. People, a lot of people are mentally ill because they can't take care of themselves. They've tried it all. You know what I mean? And everybody out on the street in Portland is not crazy. There are people that are going to work every day from their vehicle, and washing their face and brushing their teeth in a gas station restroom, because that's what America has done to Americans. That happened. We saw it all happen, and it continues to happen. So I would say, as it relates to our community, us, as the more that we can create our own economic ecosystem to where I'm spending dollars that look with someone that looks like me. And there's nothing like that feeling. There's nothing like that. I love being welcome instead of being tolerated. You know what I mean?
I like that.
There's a sister, I believe I'm going to find her, that sells honey in the city of Portland. And for the life of me, I want to blow that woman up. I want every Black person in this city that uses honey to put that woman to work and do something for your soul. When you spend that dollar, you're never going to taste the honey that tastes better than that. It's just not going to happen, James.
Yeah, but Paul, you missed the plug. You need to get the honey and mix it with olive oil.
Oh, believe it. Trust me. Trust me. I got it on the burner.
Okay. Well, let me just ask you this question.
Yes.
Tina says, "What's love got to do with it? What's Jews got to do with it?" So, Dave Chapelle said there's two words you don't want to say in relationship with one another. The Jews. What's Jews got to do with it?
Okay, so here's a real thought for you. My grandfather's last name is Bernstein.
Say what?
You heard what I said. My grandfather's last name is Bernstein. My great-grandfather's last name is Bernstein. Now, you tell me what they got, what happened. Yeah. I'm looking for that part of my family. I would love to meet them.
Yeah, so you're gonna do an ancestry 22.
I'm gonna do everything. Now, here's something else though. Check this out. So my father's name is Knauls.
Okay.
My grandfather's name was Governor Knauls.
Governor
Knauls. Yes. So Knauls is one half of me. Bernstein, the other half of me. James, I got a war going on inside of me.
Yeah. Well, Paul, I had this earlier conversation, and you can go back and talk about, we are the original people, and if we are the original people, and you look at the lineage of mankind, not just go back to the white folk and etc.
Mm-hmm.
God made us, and if He made us from dirt, guess what dirt looks like? What dirt is? You can put all this stuff together. It makes a lot of common sense. I haven't gone back and studied and gone through a whole deal, but at the end of the day, and then of course, if you cut us and open us up, we all the same color on the inside. I mean, it's just like, it's crazy what we going through, trying to assign certain things to people.
Become a member and add to the Resource Scholars social media community. Log on to resourcescholarshow.com.
The NAACP thing, you were aware that I'm running
Yes, yeah.
that president of the thing. And I, honestly, it pains me that I got to step up with my old, self trying to get in there and do that thing. It pains me.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we only have a few tools that we can use to try to improve our community. And I just didn't see nobody else stepping up. We had that dude that was in there who had the issue with the pedophile. And, we've gone through a series. You've been around. You've seen this NAACP, just spiral into the ground and so forth. So we've lost ground over the last couple of years. And the person, I don't want to demean or cast any aspersions on the previous administration, but we're just not what we need to be and what we could be. And if I get in, I'm going to come on you. I'm gonna come to you and I'm gonna talk to you about being a member and joining and taking a role as the chair of my corporate responsibility committee. Why? I
put my foot in my mouth. Something. That is something that I would, James. I would take a swing at that. I would take a swing.
Appreciate that.
We have the NAACP, the other civil rights organizations, and I will never again in my life let the African American church off the hook. I can't do it. They got billions of dollars. They collect billions of dollars every day. Every Sunday, there are billions of dollars that go into the coffers of the African American church. And for the life of me, there's these convocations, there's these big meetings, there's these retreats. Why is it not possible to come together and at least stop the food desert in our community? Why buy now? I'm almost 70 years old. Why buy now? Why can't there be a grocery store in our community for us, by us?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that help? If that was across the country, wouldn't that help the Black farmers who are also struggling?
Yeah.
I mean, we have it within us. The system is there. All we have to do is come together.
Yeah.
And make it happen. And just make it happen.
Yeah.
It's enough of us. Seat at the table. It's old. It's tiring. It's humiliating.
Yeah. Well, you're getting into the 70s, which I've been in there for quite a little while, into the 70s. And so, there's this old joke, and I hate this joke. The joke is there's two things God can't do. He can't lie, and he can't get Black people to work together. And, I don't people. Lord, that's a hard joke. But the truth of the matter is, we cannot allow that. We must persist, because that's the reason why I'm doing this NAACP.
Something. We will persist. Like I said, there is a generation out there behind me, man, that they have their foot on the gas, full pedal to the metal. They are moving forward. They're creating a space for us. Have you been over to the Soul Restoration Center?
Yeah, I've been over there. I was over there with
my gosh.
And Gloria. Your dad was over there. You remember that?
Yeah. There's these things are happening in real time. And I think that we're on a path that can take us to where we want to be. Yeah. I do know that we got to reach the younger people somehow, some way. We got to bring them on board. On my show, I'm going to make it days where I just want parents to have their teenagers chime in and listen just listen to what I'm saying, what we're saying, how we see you, the impact that you're built for this. You're built for this. We just want the best. We got an amazing community, man, across the country.
Yes.
You know, it's we're amazing. No one as resilient as we are. We weren't supposed to be here still. We are certainly not supposed to be raising this kind of hell. If you open up the door, we'll get it. But now it's time for us to just kick the door down, because they're not going to open the door. It's not going to happen.
Paul,
the doors that they're trying to close.
Yeah, so. I'm so excited that you kind of put yourself out here to do the bridge, that relationship between the OG community and the young people, because you're absolutely right. Unless we can sort of like figure out a way to encourage and get these young people moving in a direction that really allows them to accentuate who they really are, what their history is, and how they can change this negative sometimes paradigm about who we are. That's our future, man.
It is.
You got more days before you than you have left now. So listen, the way I look at this thing, every tick of the talk, every clock really is imperative on us to use our best self to make this work for our community. That's why I'm so happy to be on this program. And I'm hoping that you will continue to work with OPO, get this word out. He's got a process, and he's trying to make it happen. And let me know immediately what I can do. You've got some contacts that I was not aware of until we spoke tonight, especially with those young people. If I get to be the chair or the president of the NAACP, you have an open door to use all the creative talent and relationships that you have, to use that one vehicle to really as a platform to move your agenda.
You had to work in a team, bring others along, trust the folks that you were working with, discipline, work ethic, heart, passion. He always likes to press you to do more and to think bigger and to think broader. NAACP nationally was stood up during the Civil Rights Movement in Oakland, California. And this was really a revolt to some of the oppressive nature of working in union trades. James Posey started the Oregon chapter here in 1997 to stand up the narrative of businesses of color that, for whatever reasons, tend to not get opportunities on public and private projects in a fair and equitable way. Our businesses that literally were one truck. What James has been able to do over 5 decades is empower them to now being 60, 70, 80 million plus a year. The sacrifices James has made in our community stands out.
He was never able to really build his business out because he was so minded on, for lack of a better word, ministering to his people and creating opportunities for his people. The fathers is the ones that dream the dreams. They're the ones that have the vision. But it's the young men that actually go and have to execute on that and to be overcomers. And I think James always understood that. He always understood the importance of youth and giving us opportunities to be able to grow and learn. There's a lot of people that had to go through a lot of things to be able to survive through Jim Crow, through segregation, through all the oppressive systems and policies. There's nothing like the time we stand in now to where equity's in the forefront. Social and economic justice is in the forefront.
Well, Paul, this actually concludes our program. I've been so blessed by having you on the program. And,
man.
The
blessing is here. You guys give me way too much credit, man.
No,
you really do.
Come on, Paul. Come on, Paul. I mean, I wouldn't be having this conversation with you if you weren't who you were and who you is. And all that. You know what I'm saying?
I'm humbled by it. I love y'all, and it was a blast.
Yeah. So let's keep doing what we're doing. You got my digits. You know how to reach me. So anything I can do with, holla back. Much love. Peace out, man. Okay.
Thanks, OPO. Bye now.
You got it, OPO?
Become a member and add to the Resource Scholars social media community. Log on to resourcesscholarshow.com.